Hello, this is Arthur Nix with EWKS, and today I want to do a video on, I guess collecting your quote data and exporting them out, and discussion of that. Now, before I do that, the issue here is you want to get the both the POs and the subcontract set up in your accounting software. There are packages out there that will take directly from HeavyBid to that package and set up the POs and the subcontracts, or at least the subcontracts. I know that for sure. So you might investigate that with your accounting vendor and see if they have that option. And now, so what I want to concentrate though is getting this out to to Excel so that you can set them up. Now, we do have, this is not the one where I go to Exchange and I go to HeavyBid and Accounting and then export out my budget to Accounting. That's different. And I guess in some of those packages, it might have the option there, or use that data and create the POs and subcontracts. So check into that. But, I know a lot of the packages, they don't have that option. So how do we get this out of HeavyBid? So just to kind of give you some of the, if I come over here to reports and let's go to the quote system reports. We got this analysis reports, which, I can go ahead and print these out to that, I don't know what you call it exactly, format. It's a pretty good looking report. The problem is when you go out to Excel with it, it does a lot of merging of cells, and so it's kind of messy. It really wasn't intended for that. So if I come into here, you can see right there, and I come up to export to, let's see here, XLSX, and I go to OK. I save that. I go ahead, replace it. I already had one open, created, and then I say yes. You can see that this cell right here is merged of F, G, and H, which could create problems on the, on the import into your system. So to me, this is just not a very clean option right here, but I wanted to point that out. So let's exit out of there. Let's exit out of there. And let's go into some of the other options now that you have in HeavyBid on getting it out to Excel. All right, let's come up to, first of all, the one I like. And we're going to separate materials and subcontracts because they're really different. So I'm going to come to Edit, Change Material Cost. This is a super cool screen. You can also get it right there. There's the icon. And I see all of my materials right here and my subcontracts, but we're going to ignore those on the export out. Now you notice there is a selected vendor there. That's coming from my subcontract system. Ideally, that would be where I'd want to put that information right there. That's where it would come from. Now I can also come over here and you see at the bottom left, I got supplemental descriptions. That could also be a way that I can group those. The only problem is I can too, yeah. Let's see, if I come up to like number 4 stone. Yeah, see, it gives me a little bit of problem. I would have to probably come down, show all resources, and show the supplemental description there and type that in. I can type, reason I will show you this is when I go out to Excel, I can do a sort. And let's say I'm not using the selected vendor, I could put it over here in the supplemental description, and then I could do that, that sort and collect those in one place. So I just wanted to point that out. But reason I want to do this is combine like resources. If you look right here, like the number 4, that is collecting from, many bid items. If I come to show occurrences, I got all of those bid items that's all adding up to this, but I don't want this information out for the POs because, the vendor's not going to care where they're used. They just want to see, okay, I got number 4, aggregate, how much? All right, so this is really useless information, although, it might be useful to you. It's not useful for the vendor in the PO. Now I'm going to push this out to Excel. So what I'm going to do here is just right click, send to Excel, opens it up, and there's my Excel spreadsheet right there. I might want to go ahead and save this. I would come up to File and Save As, and save this wherever I want to. But now to make this really useful, I'm going to come up here and make this a table. So I'm going to go alternate T. Where's the data for this table? It already shows the data. My table has headers, and then I'm going to create the table here. Now I'm going to collect this and sort this the way that I want to. Now, if I'm using the right code structure, they're pretty much going to sort the way that I want to. So I would come up here and I would sort A to Z, and then all my underground material is going to be in the right place. You can see here all my material, all my PVC is going to be under the right, in order. So that would be one way of doing this. Or I could come up here and sort on selected vendor like that. I can sort on the folder. Remember we talked about the supplemental description. I can sort on that. A lot of ways that I can sort and get this out. Now, what I would do now is I would probably collect each one of these and right click, copy, go to my sheet, and then I would say aggregates, and then I would paste them like that, and then go to the next one and just go on down the list. Here's my RCPs. So I'd collect all those, including the flared in sections, and right click, copy, create a new tab, and that would be my RCP. And then I could right click and paste special so that it doesn't copy like that right there. It just copies and gives me a plain vanilla there. Or I can, I would also have to put in the column headers there too. So pretty easy to do. And then you have, and then I would come down here. If I didn't need these, obviously I don't need my 3s all the way through the 9s. I'd right click, delete those, because this is going to be the spreadsheet too that I'm going to hand off to the PM for my POs or to accounting, whatever. So I don't want those showing right there. So I would do this. It wouldn't take that long if this was organized well to create all my tabs for each PO category. All right, so that covers what I would do first of all for the material right there. All right, so now I'm going to show you what I would do for the subcontract. So a little different because I'm not going to use this screen. I'm going to come over and I'm going to go up to Exchange. All right, here at the very top, I'm going to go to Export and I'm going to go to Excel. From that point, I'm going to come to the database. I'm going to open up bid items, activities, and I want resources right here. Now this is going to get all of my resources, not just 4s. It's going to get 8s and labor and materials, everything. I can't really avoid it, but I'm going to show you later what I'm going to do. So I come down and I just label these. Whatever I want out, I will put here. And then I also want to get, let's see here, I really want to, I got activity resource here. Let me just blank these out. And let's come on down. And let's go to, this will be D, but I want my resource description. Don't ask me why it's way down there. D, E, F, G, H. And then maybe I want my selected vendor, H, I, and supplemental description. So there's what I would probably minimum export out right there. So I export that out. I say yes. And I already have one open, so I'm going to close that out. I'm going to export. There it goes. And there you go. Now you notice everything's there. It starts off with the 8s. So what am I going to do? I'm going to make a table. I'm going to say my table has headers. And then I'm going to come up to resource. And I'm going to say select all. Uncheck that. And then I'm going to come down here to the 4s. And there might be an easier way to do this. Maybe I want that 5 there. And there's my list right there. You notice I got my selected vendor right there. If I did have supplemental description, that would be there. And everything's there that I need to, send out to make up my subcontracts in my accounting system. So now what I would do is create tabs and copy these over. And now, like this one right here, obviously, if it's all, this would probably be better, more like a PO. All right, so that's probably even not going to be applicable because you can see it's a bunch of items that, pretty much all the same price. There's the hauls. That should be that should have been a PO anyway. So here's my subcontracts. That one was a different unit price. Again, that could be a subcontract. Asphalt paving, my survey sub, and there's my total unit price, unit of measure right there. And I could have changed these on the export, the actual order right there. So I can make up separate tabs, or I can just leave it like this and then hand that over to the accounting. So that just gives you some of the options for exporting out. What you don't want to do is create like just a cost report, or, try to do something just going through and manually doing it here. At least use some of HeavyBid's power to get this out. I wish it was a better way of doing it, but I really haven't seen other than what I've shown you, this seems to be the optimal on getting this out to Excel so that you could turn this over to accounting. Now I have seen people, what they do is they open up their accounting system and then they punch it in, the project manager. But at least you could have it where all in one place, all in one spreadsheet, so you're not, going in and out of different screens in HeavyBid. And I think the most important thing is you have a reference to something, a spreadsheet at the end of the day, you have, that came out of HeavyBid, right? And you could always turn that over to the project manager. If you're not the project manager, you want to turn that over as part of the turnover package. You could have that spreadsheet too. So anyway, this is Arthur Nix, EWKS. I also offer 4-hour training sessions, remote. Really, we can review your system, go through, answer all your questions, make sure all the options are checked and unchecked or whatever. Make sure you're using all the latest features of HeavyBid Desktop. So appreciate you watching this, and if you have any suggestions, just post those in my YouTube video. Thank you.